You're in.
Hello, everybody. Wait there. That's not my thing, is it? Hello. Are you all doing marvelously well? It is 12 minutes past 11. Yes, we're going a little late here. Apparently, the link that was sent out to the world, hi world, was wrong. So I humbly apologize. So if you had clicked on earlier and only just discovered this, I apologize once more. But here we are. We're big. We're big. We're bad. Well, I'm not bad. Eric is. Are you bad, Eric?
Always.
Always, he says. We're big, we're bad, and we're back for another Feedback Friday. What is wonderful about this one, for those of you that aren't Academy members, is this is user mixes. So one of the things that we love to do once a month is we take productions, songs written by our Academy members and the artists they work with, and we critique them. And sometimes, and quite frankly, it's a great way to showcase your music and have other wonderful people inside of the community help out and get stuck in there and give advice. It's pretty amazing, because the great thing about having such an incredibly huge community as produced like a pro academy is that inside of it there are great drummers, bass players, guitar players, singers, songwriters, remixers. I can think of quite a few amazing remixers in there. You know, genres such as metal, punk, acoustic, country, EDM, everything. Everything is covered. So we have all of these different people in there, and it's, you know, as we like to always joke, 8 to 80. It's like every single age group you could imagine. So it's a real blessing, a really, really incredible place to come and, you know, share stuff. So it's a pretty unique place like that. And one of the things that I will say is it's a really, really safe place. There's no kind of hierarchy in here. And that's what I love. Everybody has a voice, and everybody is there's some incredibly talented people in here. I'm blown away. So if you're new, don't forget to send us one of your mixes. If you're not an Academy member yet, please join up and you can get into this. If, for those of you watching, please hit the like button. That will help because of the screw up, the mess up with the URL, with the link. We're going to have to present it back to the wonderful world of YouTube and let them know that we have a video up. So liking and commenting really helps you know what I'm going to say, the algorithm, the dreaded YouTube algorithm that everybody always complains about. We don't live and die by topical stuff. We don't do any ambulance chasing. We're not like going on straight away. Somebody died, quick, you know. So we don't have to worry too much about that. But Chetty says, "Do it, join. You won't regret it." Thank you, Chetty. But anyway, this is wonderful. Excuse me. We're going to listen to our members' mixes, productions, songwriting, mixing, mastering, EDMing, remixing, bloody, boob, you name it. So, Eric, can we go to that screen, please?
We're there.
He says we're there. Okay.
Delay.
There's a delay. There's a delay. Oh, okay. I see it now. All right. So Matthew is up first and says, "Hi, everyone. This is my first few days with Plap." So amazing. So Matthew must have joined during December. I'm excited, probably during the holiday time, which we have a lot of people join, obviously, because they've got some time off and they want to start off the new year. And so Matthew says, "It's my first few days with Plap. I'm excited to jump in head first and share our similar passion of music. Here's a song I released a few years ago. I can't wait to get in it with the community and help each other grow." What a perfect thing to say. Thank you. Here's a couple of links in case that one doesn't work. Edit. Made some changes via Dave Cruz suggestions. Dave Cruz suggested here, got in and helped. So did Paul Nielsen. And Matthew got back in and more Dave stuff. Chad got in with some details as well. So did Paul some more. You get the process. We inside of the community, people post inside of the forum, and then people help each other out. And then we listen, which is what we're going to do now. So this is Matthew Wood with Losing You.
context that surrounds you, this content that negates you. And help me help myself out of this, and help me out, I am trying. I'm covered up in desperate, dying, crazy, helpless. I'm lovesick, not sick of being loved. Yes, I'm covered in disguise. I'm dying to be alright. I'm only the one who lets go. Yeah, in spite all that we'll overcome, I feel I'm losing you, Madison. Meet on the moonlight, the lights up your eyes. The street lights blinding my contrition. It's binding my decision to stay here, even though you're gone. The presence of senseless, seamless notions, all my selfless guided motive. And help me help myself out of this, and help me out, I am trying. I'm covered up in desperate, dying, crazy, helpless. I'm lovesick, not sick of being loved. Yes, I'm covered in disguise. I'm dying to be alright. I'm only the one who lets go. Yeah, in spite all that we'll overcome, I feel I'm losing you, Madison. I'm covered up in desperate, dying, crazy, helpless. I'm lovesick, not sick of being loved. Yes, I'm covered in disguise. I'm dying to be alright. I'm only the one who lets go. Yeah, in spite all that we'll overcome, I feel. Yeah, in spite all that we'll overcome, I feel. Yeah, in spite all that we'll overcome.
Wonderful, wonderful song. Excuse me. Really enjoyed it. So what we get in the community here is great interaction here with people coming in with fantastic ideas. It's been really, really wonderful, and a lot of the stuff, I agree with. So, when you're doing these kinds of things, always look to the comments. They're super, super positive and supportive. Obviously, we're opening this up to the whole of YouTube. Hello, YouTube! And anyway, to cut a long story short, there's lots of things to talk about here. First of all, I really enjoyed the song. It's always a good sign. You can hear a song once and remember the melody. That's a really good sign. So I do like that a lot. The things for me to talk about, and because it's an originals day, is not just the mix. I know every YouTube channel ever in the history of YouTube channels spends its whole time talking about mixing. But we are called Produce Like a Pro. And growing up on the greatest albums, which I'm sure many of you did, that we love, they are all made in the production. This sort of idea that, you're going to hand it off to Fred Famous, who's going to mix it, and suddenly it's a smash hit number one. Unfortunately, it does not work like that. You need the song, and there's plenty of incredible songs, even to this day, that are number one smash hits that aren't actually mixed by famous people. And mixing is probably the least most important thing to some of those hits. You know, it's capturing great performances, but as Quincy Jones famously said, the three most important things in music are the song, and the song. And I do like this song a lot. So, Matthew, things that are... I know, but the slapback is unbearable.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I have to take the headphones off. So sorry if you're hearing some headphone bleed there. Let's just go in. I think Eric's got it set up. What did you do on the playback engine? Did you have it set 256?
256 is the normal. Maybe we have to go lower.
And go see if that's better. Yeah, that's better. Okay, press play. All right, great. We just lowered our buffer rate a little bit to get rid of some of that. So, a couple of things. Production-wise, I enjoyed it. I feel like after the bridge, there's a kind of redundant musical section. If you're going to do something where you want impact on the last chorus, it needs to go to 0. It needs to come down. So this section here. That to me is where's the solo? You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be. It could be just like a. That's what I put in something like there. Imagine that. So to me, that was a lost moment. I don't mind that there is, there is less going on. It just doesn't have any impact when it comes back in. I think it needs a melodic line. It doesn't have to be guitar. It could be keyboard. It could be da 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 da. You know, it could be a vocal melody, something that people could sing along that could be repeated in the last chorus. But it is the one moment that stuck out to me in the arrangement where I was like, I didn't enjoy that part. So I think for the arrangement there, it needs a change. And then in this bar here, I want it to come down to nothing. And then, like Chris is saying, probably a better drum fill. Like, so for me, it would be... Maybe you just do, we cut it. This is faking. So that is not what I want you to do because it doesn't work. But what I want is something that adds more impact. Yeah, hard to emulate on a 2-track, but you understand what I'm going for. I want something melodic that carries through, something that gets a lot of energy. The thing about a slightly distorted guitar in that section is if it was and it was high line with energy, it would make the impact more when it came down and then hit back on the 1.
I'm covered up in desperate, dying, crazy, helpless. I'm lost.
Now, the number one thing that many of you commented on when it comes to the mix was the cymbals. They feel very, very high frequency, 7K and above, very, very bright, very sort of pervasive, persistent, just kind of right from the get-go. It's the first thing I noticed. Have a listen. So you have a guitar melody there that could be, over there. But yeah, that cymbal just. I wonder, so one of the things that we do a lot of is like talking about mixing environments. There's a part of me that is like, well, maybe that super, super high kind of 7K and above that we're hearing that's like really super loud on the cymbals, maybe that's to do with the rooms, the room, the speakers or the headphones that are being used. Something that makes that frequency maybe not as prevalent in the room and is being pushed up a little bit too much. Maybe there's other frequencies that are kind of masking it. It's interesting. What I always suggest for those of you like Matthew here, who's fairly new to the community, is take a mix of something that you love, something that you know is really well mixed. It could be anything fairly current. I would definitely make it no earlier than, there's a few things. If it's Bob Clearmountain, you can probably go back through the 80s. Woman in Chains is a favorite of mine, still stands up as being a modern sounding mix. But go for something fairly modern. And the reason why I say fairly modern is not because I'm trying to say, oh, well, I'm talking about the fact that the full range. The thing about records from like the mid-90s on, love it or hate them, is the CD generation gave you that super, super low lows and that super high highs, which in some of our favorite records of the 70s, just doesn't exist. It didn't have that low lows. So don't get me wrong. I still listen to 60s and 70s records every day of my life. Queen are my favorite band. It's obvious. But the only reality is, unless they've been remastered or potentially remixed, they never quite have the low end that we just hear typically now. Even in folk music now, when a kick drum plays, it's there's 40 hertz going on. We never had that in the 70s. Records in the 70s didn't have that huge low end because a stylist couldn't reproduce 40 hertz and below. It would jump out. The needle would jump out of the groove. So I think that find something you love. Quite often I suggest, don't hate me, what's it called? The Bruno Mars track, because it's super full bandwidth. The huge Bruno Mars hit that he did, and I don't know why I'm forgetting, but mix-wise, it's really, really full frequency and very, very balanced. It doesn't have to be the genre you like, but the reason why I suggest it is like Uptown Funk, thank you. The reason why I suggest it, I'm not saying it's my favorite song or anything like that, but listen to the mix. It's very, very, it's loud, and it's very full range, and it's incredibly well balanced. So put that on in your system, in your studio, Matthew, and if you're hearing like some frequencies just jumping out crazily, be very mindful. The way to do it really is to go with something that you trust, something you know that's well mixed. And if it sounds uneven in your room, then it's your room that's the problem. If it sounds uneven in your headphones, then it's your headphones that are the problem. Maybe it's a time to do some dampening in the room. Maybe it's time to use SonarWorks or some kind of room correction, or a combination of both of those two things. It's that kind of thinking. So I wonder if that's the issue, that kind of like high cymbals, because it's weird. It's the one thing that jumps out quite dramatically. Now, for me, talking of low lows, I could always use a little bit more oomph underneath on the kick. I think a little bit of 40 pulled up, not dominating, because I think kick drums bass drums tend to sit around 50 to 60 hertz. Traditionally, they went there because Neves had a 60 hertz boost, and APIs, of course, had a 50. So traditionally they went there, and the subbiness, like that 40, is nice. It comes up. But when you're boosting this 50 to 60 area, 40 will come up naturally. But you don't want to overdo it, because if you bring up too much, you've also got to cut 80 to 100 in that kick. You don't want to over build up of 80 to 100, or else you'll be masking the bass guitar. I've been teaching that for a long time now, and it's good. I see a lot of like other channels now listening and adopting that and talking about that area, because it is where your bass breathes best, in that sort of 80 to 100 area. And that's where you get like the real low, and it also where it connects to the kick drum really pleasingly. So bravo everybody listening to that and starting to teach that too. It's always been a secret, we say, sorts out the girls from the women, the men from the boys, the women from the girls. Because good low end is very hard to achieve when you first start. I know it took me a long time to do it. And one of the things that I learned was that little subbiness. For me, when I'm mixing hybrid, it's a DBX 120. It's a subharmonic synthesizer, and I boost at about 36 hertz. So it's around about 40, just a little bit. And it comes up on a fader on the console. When I'm doing it inside of Pro Tools, there's lots of different subharmonic synthesizers, I believe. Doesn't Brainworks make one, I think? And I don't see Brainworks. Oh, they under Plugin Alliance. I believe it's called, anybody remember while I'm looking for it? BX Boom. So there's the BX Boom. There's also the sub synth. Lots of different people have it. So, and there's a sub filter, says Frank, sub synth. Yeah. So, So basically you've got these different kinds of things where you can just stick in a little tiny bit of lows, just a little bit of underneath, just to kind of like add something to it.
Out from the blind.
It's pretty solid. Your kick and snare are good. That's why for me, I wonder if it's your room that's causing that sort of excessive kind of 7K on the cymbals. Also, I feel the cymbals are probably overly EQ'd. For me, for a track like this, which is not a metal track, I want my overheads to actually feel like the drum kit. For me, when I'm not recording like really, really dense metal tracks or working in like a really dense kind of EDM arena, overheads to me should give you a vision of the kit. They should be in phase with the snare, and they should feel like they bring solidity to the drum kit, so you don't have that separate kick and separate snare sound.
Quickness out from the blind.
Your kick and snare is pretty nice, but I personally, I would relax your high passing on your overheads and then relax the boost of the high end that you're doing.
Out from the blind, the blurring from an ordinary romance fueled by ordinary circumstances. They favor only out to one when it's taken out of.
For me, the vocals are great. I like the melody. I like the song. It's got a very kind of mid-90s, almost, you've probably, Matthew had this a few times, kind of a soul asylum kind of thing about them, which is good. The only thing with the vocal is it sort of comes and goes. Now, there's two ways of dealing with that. You could add naturally more compression so that, some of those words that are getting a little lost in the track, you could do that with compression. You could compress the overall signal that could end up like bringing up some of those lower words. You could use MV2, the Waves MV2 plugin, because there's a low level kind of thing. You could parallel compress the vocal and squash it really aggressively, then bring it back in. Or you could simply go in and automate, which is the old school way we would do everything on fader. And the best way to do that really is to come back to the song with fresh ears, listen at a low level, and then just ride the vocal. So David Springler is saying MV2 plus automation for the win. So he's saying a combination of the two, which is probably what I would do. I'd probably use a little bit of the MV2. I'd take the low level and just bring it up slightly. And then after that, do the words that needed extra help, automate those words. Because the thing about the track is it's fairly open in the verses. So if you get too aggressive in the compression, everything will start to sound like this and really too forward, and it won't feel like the track, which has got a nice little swing to it.
Out from the blind, the blurring from an ordinary romance fueled by ordinary circumstances. They favor only out to one when it's taken out of context that's around.
Just needs a little help. It's not terrible at all. Sometimes, of course, when it goes low on the lower notes, it just gets a little bit down there. So overall, because the song's fairly poppy, and I don't mean it's a Spice Girls song from the 90s, don't get me wrong. But what I mean is like it's a sing-alongable song. Remember, pop only means popular, If it's in the charts and it's in the top 40, I don't care what the genre is, it's a pop song. It's popular. So a song like this, you could probably overall, once you've evened the vocal up, and just lightly dealt with those things, probably bring the vocal up a dB all over. Just make it a little bit more obvious. So there, you need to duck that lead and bring the vocal up a bit. I would bring the lead guitar down a dB and bring the vocal up a dB over there.
Blurring from an ordinary romance fueled by ordinary circumstances, they favor only.
So a couple of people mentioned, and I agree, there could be a little bit more judicious panning. I feel like in the guitars in the verses here, they could sit away a little bit from each other. There's a guitar which is almost centered slightly to the left, and then there's one that's further right. I feel like both of them could come up a dB, and they could both pan a little harder. The one that's almost centered on the left should definitely come out wider. Typically with a rock song, I like LCR in the choruses, meaning I like big guitars left and right, and then kick, snare, bass guitar down the middle, vocal down the middle. And then in the verses, I'll narrow the guitars, the rhythm guitars, the arpeggios, the delayed edge part that you've got here. I'd bring that back to about 50-50. And what it does is it sort of creates a nice explosive point, because you have your vocal sitting here, the guitars surrounding it, then with them about 50-50, then the chorus comes in, it goes heavy, and they go wide. And it helps that kind of impact of the chorus.
Myself out of this and help me out, I am trying. I'm covered up in desperate dying.
It's interesting, the drums sound good with a little bit more low lows on the kick, just a tiny bit. They sound good with the exception of the cymbals. It's quite an interesting thing. That's the reason why my brain went to maybe there's something wrong with the room. Maybe there's something wrong, with the headphones that Matthew is overly brightening the cymbals, because the kick and snare in general makes sense with this song.
I'm covered up in desperate.
Yeah, these are Odyssey headphones. I don't like saying this word because this phrase, everybody hates it, but there's sort of an industry standard now. Every major mixer I know has a pair. Manny even has his signature series version of them. I mean, we went and did a lot of research on headphones, and then we went and did the factory tour. Yeah.
I'm covered up in desperate, dying, crazy, helpless. I'm lovesick, not sick.
Thank you, Ebad.
I'm covered up in desperate.
So I feel like guitars can go wider in the choruses, can come up another dB, so there's more impact. The vocal probably is going to come up overall anyway, and then those harmonies, you could play with it. It's a tough one. I mean, my natural inclination is to make the harmonies be stereo and wider around the lead vocal.
I'm covered up in desperate, dying, crazy, helpless. I'm lovesick, not sick of being loved.
That's pronounced Odyssey.
I'm covered up in desperate, dying, crazy, helpless. I'm lovesick, not sick.
That's interesting. Ryan says he owns the LCD XCs and says with a good amp, they sound very close to ATC voicing. That's powerful. Thank you. Yeah, we've mixed on all kinds of headphones. For years, we used to mix on the blue headphones that Eric is currently wearing. They had a range from sort of 200 to like 600, and we worked in that kind of price range because we wanted to show headphones that people could afford. Like at the moment, you probably can't see on camera. Maybe you can. I don't want to lift it up but everything we stream through and most of our demos are done with an Audient ID44. And the reason why we do that is because, first of all, it gives you consistency. So when you're listening to a microphone and you're comparing maybe a recording we did with one mic with the recording we did with a different mic, you know it's going through the same pieces of gear, number one. But most importantly, the reason why we're using a Lewitt mic here and why we used to use inexpensive headphones is because we wanted to basically say you can do this with affordable equipment. The ID44 is an affordable piece of gear. The reality is we all know, it happened with the jazz recording we did that came out a few days ago. If your musicians are phenomenal, even with that recording where we had things clipping, Eric, quite a lot. He's like, what? Huh? What? What did I do wrong? No, I mean, all joking aside, the music, the playing, the performances, it doesn't matter. I mean, yes, would it have been nicer if it hadn't clipped every now and then? Probably. Did it make it worse? Not really. Obviously, we want to record as best as you can, but we have to remember, as has been pointed out many, many times, it's not always about the equipment. Now, I've been doing this for about 7 or 8 years now, doing live streams and listening to mixes and stuff like that. And I just decided I'm going to treat myself and get the $1,200 headphones because I'm also doing you a service by listening on very accurate headphones and giving you really good featured feedback and stuff like that. But I'm happy to mix on $79 Sony 7506s. In fact, the next one we should do it on $79 headphones when we do a live stream. Okay, so width in the chorus on the guitars, width in the verse, but not as great. Guitars overall could come up a little bit. Vocals could come up a little bit. Kick needs a little extra oomph at around about the 40 hertz. And I think the bass could do with a little bit more 80 to 100, a little bit more roundness. Let's give it a listen. It's a tough one. The bass is not bad. There was a super chat. What was the question? Did it disappear?
Yeah, I've got it right here.
What was the question? Sorry.
It is, how many auxiliary sends can each channel strip have on the SSL console?
Oh, good question. I'm going to check. It's four auxiliary sends. You can send the auxiliary sends to small fader as well. So what you can do, the reason why I wanted to check is because I know you can do other things. So what I can do is I can send, so the way it is, each channel has 4 sends, but then it also has selection for being pre-fade or post-fade, which of course is very important because if you're doing subtle things on a fader which you want to mimic, you can do it post-fade. But if you don't want to do that, where, say, like on a Bowie song, another story, remember the end of that song, it all goes reverb, but everything goes down? Well, what they would have done is they would have sent all of the tracks to a reverb pre-fade, and then all hands on deck on the faders, they're pulling down the track on the faders on the console, but it's still sending as though the faders were up to a reverb. So that's a nice trick that you can do. You can do it obviously on your DAW, but that's what it's nice to have pre and post fade selection. I love that where you start bringing down the overall mix, but your reverb send is pre-fade. So it's the reverb gets louder because it becomes more prevalent in the mix where everything else fades down. Really nice trick. But there's other reasons why you might want to do it. You don't necessarily want every mimicked kind of thing. Sometimes you might just want the reverb to be there while you're bringing up and down, vocal moves and stuff like that. So the other thing is once you switch to small fader, you can send from the small fader here, which I don't know if is visible on camera, but you have the large fader down here, then the small fader, and that allows you to do all kinds of fun things. So what we've got is we've got a submix of the drums going to a crushed drums. So it comes back on a pair of faders there, which are smashed. So you get like a parallel destroyed drum sound coming back on another pair of faders. Then what you can do is you can also do small fader. We can do small fader to anywhere. So it really helps you decide. And then of course you've got bussing up at the top. And the bussing, I don't know if you can see on camera, on the far left, you see some red lights on. Can you see that, Eric? Or not?
Not so much.
Not so much. Okay, well, there's red lights on the bussing. So those buses can be assigned anywhere. And what we did is we are assigning those to another drum mix, a DBX parallel mix here. And that's a different kind of set of compression going up. So you can do all kinds of fun things. It's not just the auxiliaries because you've got bussing, you've got small fader, you've got auxiliary sends. There's literally and because there's 24 buses, I can do so many different things. It's not just the same as like a DAW where you have an auxiliary send coming out, a busing going on. So you go to inserts here. I can obviously insert there, but I've got sends here, which I've got I've got 24 open here, but I think you can go up to, I don't know, unlimited amounts. So, I could have tons and tons of sends. It's not just built around the sends. It's got lots of other ways of doing things. I've never actually been on an SSL where I've thought that I didn't have enough ways to route things. I can't remember ever thinking, oh, I wish only if it had more this or had more that, because there's so much flexibility. Anyway, I hope that answered your question. All right, Matthew, great work. I think a bit more definition on the bass is probably what I'm looking for, like 750, 850, 1K, 1.5. I'm a big fan of 3K boost. You don't need much above 3K, but 3K is really good to get some articulation, especially if it's a pick or fingers and you want a little bit of, that tap, tap, tap on the bass. You don't have to boost much in that area, but just little tips on the like a little boost on 750, 850, 1K, 1.5, a little wider on the 3K. You don't need anything really much above 3K. You could pretty much low pass the rest of it away and let everything else breathe. Great work. Wow, that was a fun first one. Really huge conversations came from that. Oh, Brett Trout is up next. Woohoo! Brett's a great member of our community who also happens to be an incredibly talented songwriter, like really talented songwriter. So it's called Cheat Codes. So let's check that out. After this, we'll do a giveaway. We'll do a year's membership of the Academy. So stick by. Please hit that like button, share all of the fun things that we do. Brett Trout says, hey Warren, here's a song I wrote and produced for async pitch. I use my TC Clarity M to monitor RTA on this mix. It's I presume RTA's real-time analysis. It's a cool tool and show me to build up show me some build up in the 53 to 62 range. I tamed that and found that the hats were competing with the vocals, so I tamed those harmonic issues. Anyway, I think it's a solid mix. Let me know what you think of this record. Thanks again, Brett. P.S. The Clarity M is a phase correlation display from -1 to +1. Do you know what that thing does and how to correct it if it's gone too far or not a lot? I mean, we have a phase meter on the console. There's a lot of phase meter stuff. I always feel like the best way to think about phase meters is to look at them in conjunction with what you hear, rather than sort of treating them like a Bible. Because if you're not hearing any major issues, then don't look at things and think, oh my God, my music looks this way. In the same way, when you're editing and you're like, oh, it isn't perfectly in time, and then you start lining everything up, and before you know it, a machine played your music and not you. You've got to use your ears first. So if you're not hearing any major phase issues, remember, when you're multi-miking anything, a drum kit, a piano, there is no possible way you're going to get it perfectly in phase unless you're using like a mic like a 640. Audience 640 has capsules like this. Even a bloom line is going to be one of the best kind of ways of recording, an XY, but it's still never going to be absolutely perfect unless they are literally aligned like that. There's always going to be slight polarity phase issues. I use both words so people don't get upset. So bear in mind, the most important thing is listening. I'm really sensitive to phase issues, polarity issues all the time. If people are using widening plugins on certain instruments, it really drives me nuts. But use your ears first, Brett. If you didn't hear any problems, then there was no problems. But let's see if we do hear any problems. Go, Brett. Talented singer, songwriter, great writer. Here we go.
Moves that defied the rules, camping out on her basement couch while I was Princess Peach, just the dots connecting what I know. But you can't backspace, make excuses and erase. We're starting into something new. Cause you'll be bringing back the dead just to bury us again like serial cheaters do. You thought that you had cheat codes that wouldn't let your secret show. But did you forget that I could die inside while you ran around with all your extra lies? But it's my turn to take control, start my winning streak alone, and by the time I finish you, you'll be calling out my name, but I'll be playing games with the one who ain't a player too. Cause you went circle, square, left, right, to her house, getting lazy now. Circle, X, right, left your phone at home, and I found out about your cheat codes, about your cheat codes, about your cheat codes. You thought that you had cheat codes that wouldn't let your secret show. But did you forget that I could die inside while you ran around with all your extra lives? But it's my turn to take control, start my winning streak alone, and by the time I finish you, you'll be calling out my name, but I'll be playing games with the one who ain't a player too.
Nice. I'm telling you, he's a wonderful, wonderful writer. I mean, obviously you can hear superb songwriter. Okay. So there's lots of little detail stuff that we can get talking about. However, one of the things that's really super important to me and super important about our community is to make sure we address global things. Because I've watched mixed critiques sometimes, and they are painful because people get really caught up in like, well, if only there was like a 3 dB boost on the blah, blah, blah at this section. And yet they might miss the overall global issue of a track. With this track, we've all heard stuff on the radio, which is just as good as this. And this is just as good a lot of stuff on the radio. So we already know that. We can put this out there. This is a really, especially in a world of dance music where there's a lot of things that would be considered to be wrong, which are also part of the genre. Pumping bass, obviously, is a big deal. You know, there was a massive movement about 10 or 15 years ago where everything was like being driven from a and you had everything pumping. You remember about 15 years ago, every dance track was like and it was just like this massive side chaining effect. And it came from the way stuff was produced. Makes me think back to like early Anthrax, for instance. Greg D'Angelo's a friend of ours, and who you probably know as the original Anthrax drummer. And we talked about like those early demos they did, and because they were very naive in their recording and they wanted that kind of aggressive kind of drum sound, a lot of it was to do with polarity phase issues, things cancelling each other out. And for those of you logically, you'll know that low end is the easiest thing to create cancellation is. It's why you get more low end when you high pass than not. If you high pass and separate out low end and have only one instrument filling an area, it's going to be fuller than if you've got 5 different things overlapping, because once you get 5 different overlaps of, say, 60 hertz, all slightly out of time with each other, they all cancel each other out. Simple as that, especially when you're working in stereo. That's why Atmos has been such a big thing for lots of people, because you're like, wow, now I can have a sub sound maybe here, and then have another low-end instrument coming there. And it's like, wait there, I can get away with so much more low-end now because there's less cancellation issues. I can, there's a lot, once you can separate things out, but when you're dealing with, a stereo speakers, we do have a lot of problems with that kind of stuff. So let's address the bass first, thing as I'm talking about it. I love the bass. It is beautiful. I love the subbiness. However, I feel like it could be tamed so that when the chorus comes in, there's more impact. So if I listen here.
But it's my turn to take control, start my winning streak alone, and by the time I finish you,
So it's great. I have no real problem from it, but I've got this build up. I've got this build up, this like spring, coiled spring ready to explode. And I'm not talking about much. I like the subbiness, impact at the front. It's beautiful. And then here. To me, that I would make that more boom, boom, boom. I would actually staccato it and not make it go woo, because it's so pervasive and persistent, second time I've said that today, that when the impact of the chorus happens here, I'm not getting that smash you over the head thing, I just want that. I love when that synth comes in, that big paddy warm. It's satisfying. I love it. But I'd like to give it a chance, an opportunity to, to really explode. So just for instance, just for schnitz and schniggles, let's do something. Let's just grab an EQ, something generic that comes free with our... So I'm just going to do this. I'm going to go up to about 60. And I'm also going to come down to about 7, 6.5 and 7. Like this. Maybe get a little bit more aggressive here. Not so much on the highs, but I'm just going to narrow it a little bit. And now I'm just going to render that. Okay. And then let's just get here. So I've just come in and I haven't taken all of the low end out, but I've reduced it a little bit. I'll put a big fade in here so the crossover moment isn't that big of a deal. Let's see how that sounds. So that works for me. You could choose not to do the high end as much, but you see that it allows that sub to just kind of make an impact. It's what I just did was completely not what I would suggest. You need to be doing that inside of the tracks, but just something that gives me that satisfied moment of like, the low end comes in. So I'm going to listen to it on the big speakers. Now, I don't know if you're all in situations to reproduce low lows, but that kind of impact is just like 60 hertz is fine, So I've still got like low lows on there, but when the chorus comes in, it's like, just, it just was like, it's satisfying. All that low end came in. It's very Eric Valentine. What I really liked about a lot of his mixes, in the early 2000s when he was mixing a lot of like mainstream pop rock stuff, is he was very, very clever in what he would do. And he would do that with tracks all the time. He would take verses and just narrow it ever so slightly. Like maybe go up to about 40 or 50 on the kick drum. Just take the bass and maybe go up to about 90. And really, you didn't notice. You were listening to a verse, and you didn't think about, there's not enough low end in there. You were just kind of listening along and blah, blah, blah. And then the chorus would come in, and there'd be this extra on the kick. And then the bass would suddenly have a little bit more of a bloom. And it was just smart thinking, just to make it be like, so satisfying. And he would also narrow the high end a little bit, just a bit. Just really, really smart way of working, So I would definitely suggest things like that. The other thing is there is a harshness in the 3 to 5K area. There's a kind of masking build-up for me. This is all good because it's empty. So it needs some clarity in that. I love it, and I love the movement, but I think you could get a little bit more surgical in there because this isn't like real instruments, like organic instruments. Real's a wrong word. I apologize. There's no organic instruments in here There's nothing that you identify of being like, oh no, that wouldn't sound like a harp if I took out that frequency. You know what I mean? So I would get a little bit, they seem a little kind of 3 to 5K heavy, all of the things that are going on in there. So there's a little bit of it's a little messy. When I went over, I could hear it on the Odysseys, and I went over to the speakers with those huge frickin' tweeters. I could really, really tell. And Chris is saying he wants the downbeat high frequency impact as well. So I think in there, just get a little bit more detailed, Brett. Make a decision about each one of those sounds, everything that's going on, and make sure there's some separation deliberately between them, rather than kind of a sheeny kind of. It just needs a bit more detail work in that. And to be honest, I would lean heavier on the mids and a little bit off of the 3, 5, 6, 7, 5, 6, 7 area. When it gets into the 3 to 7, and there's a lot of emphasis on that, our ears aren't too happy, because that's where our ears are very, very sensitive in that area. So if there's a lot of instruments that are trying to do movement there, it tends to get a little bit messy. But if you've got like that and concentrate on a 1K kind of area and boosted in that 1 to 1.5, and then found something else that was maybe 2-ish, and boosted that. 2-ish always gives you that glassiness, but you have to be careful because it's painful when there's too much of it. If you could separate those out and take out the corresponding frequencies, not quite jigsaw puzzle, not like this, but kind of a boost there, I think that would clarify those kinds of areas. And and Chris says, guessing it was fighting with the entrance on the vocal, which is why you tried it out. I don't know, it can be quite fashionable way. Yeah, and I know there was a couple of comments about the auto-tune, and I agree. I think if this was an acoustic guitar vocal track, I would never go with that amount of auto-tune. To me, that's part of the genre. And I understand a couple of people like, oh, it's super tuned. And I don't disagree, but it is definitely part of the genre, and it's done very well. I think as used as a tool, I'm completely fine with it. Absolutely fine. I mean, it is part of that effect. One of the things that bothers me is when something is auto-tuned within a very natural sounding song, but then it ends up sounding, so you've got a song where it's all like, da, 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 and then it goes like, da, 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 bing, just like completely tuned perfectly to a note when the rest of the vocal isn't. But I think if it's done as an effect deliberately, it's an artistic choice, and I'm totally fine with it. And remember, we as producers, engineers, and mixers, songwriters, etc., we have to really be conscious of who we're making music for. And I want all of you to have long-term careers in this business to be mindful that unless you become a specialist in one genre, like Christian Kohler, obviously, is one of our best friends, great guy. He's a specialist in metal, and he's very, very successful in that genre. He doesn't need to work in other genres. People are knocking down his door to make albums with him, and he has more work than he knows what to do with. But that's quite an exception. Most of the people I know that are very busy are working on pop tracks, metal tracks, folk tracks, and they're making a really good living. But they are great producers, engineers, and mixers across multiple genres. So yes, if you pathologically hate a genre, don't work in it. But if you want a career, be mindful that you want to work in lots of genres. That's how you stay busy. If you own a recording studio and you have multiple rooms and you're trying to bring in clients, you've got to make sure that whatever their genre is, whatever they need to do, you can accommodate it. So that to me is very important, I think. And it's also just a positive message of bringing people together in music is really important to me.
Square
So here's the one last thing to talk about. By the way, once again, Brett, this is a fantastic song. Great songwriter. You know, if you, you know, if that was played on an acoustic guitar, it's still a beautiful song. And just remember that. This is a great melody.
Circle square, left, right, to her house, getting lazy now. Circle X,
Left, right. That's a great, great melody. Circle, square. Get out an acoustic guitar and play it. Your hairs would still stand on end. So a lot of music in this genre, I could agree. They don't necessarily lean on melody as much, and you know, there was the old joke in the 80s, early 90s. Remember the track "No Limits," and the chorus was no, 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 no. There's no limits, and all the rock guys would be no, 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 no. There's no lyrics. There's no lyrics. No. Chris will remember that, won't you, Chris? This doesn't suffer from that. There's a beautiful melody and everything. Okay, so one last thing. I know it's an artistic statement to use low end to pump the master bus. I just feel like Brett, maybe you could just back off the compression a little bit on the master bus with the bass. When I listen through the speakers, I feel like, and on the headphones too, I feel like the bass is just making the track pump a little bit too much in the choruses, which actually makes it feel a little bit smaller. Just a bit. Have a listen to it again. I'm going to feel it going in here.
cause you went circle square, left, right, to her house, getting lazy now. Circle X, right, left your phone at home, and I can see you shaking like a girl.
Somebody just mentioned da da da, da da da. I love that song. You see, those of you who know me well, you know I'm a sucker for German synth pop. Absolute sucker. I mean, and not just synth pop, you know, anything that's called kraut rock. I love all the late 60s and 70s stuff. And it's not lost on me when I was a little kid that all of the bands, the Joy Divisions and the New Orders and the Depeche Modes, all of OMD, all those bands that were coming out were all massively influenced by German bands. We'd go and listen to those bands, go see them live, buy their albums, then read interviews with them, and they'd be talking about Neu and Tangerine Dream and Kraftwerk and all that stuff. We knew where it came from. It didn't do as well over here in America, but just because that new wave sound sort of came later, there wasn't quite the post-punk new wave scene that we had in the late 70s. But the point is like, I'm a sucker for that. When that Da 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 song came out, I gave it a lot of excuses. I still enjoyed it, but I know what you mean.
When circle square, left, right, to her house, getting lazy now. Circle X.
First time I went to Berlin, it was because of that music, and I played there. That was before the wall came down. I was 16 years old. And then the second time, and the last time I went, I should say, we went there for Superbooth, which is a fantastic show for those of you that are into synths and stuff.
When circle square, left, right.
So yeah, Brett, if you could just back off that pumping a little bit and let the song open up, I'd be happier. I know it's an effect, but it does just make the chorus feel a little bit smaller to me, that the bass is controlling how everything is compressing. Otherwise, absolutely superb work, and great that you did it and we get to talk about it and showcase the fact that we have songwriters as talented as Brett inside the Academy. Thank you, Brett. All right, let's do a giveaway. We'll do a giveaway of a year's membership for the Academy. If you're already a member, you will get an extended year. If you're a lifetime member, which we have a lot of, you can choose any of the Pro Mix Academy courses, any of them. They can be the 20-hour-long Steve Majora background vocal course. It could be the cheapest to the most expensive. It could be the full, 10, 15-hour Pro Tools course that John Connolly has done. I don't mind. You can choose any course you like. Okay, So let's ask a question. Eric will choose the winner, and the question can be absolutely anything you like. Anything. What should we do? What do we want to know? We always ask. Anybody can enter. All right. Well, this is an easy one because we're talking about genres. This is it. I don't know. Who's your favorite artist? Band, singer, duo. Who's your favorite artist? Any genre whatsoever. Mozart is also a correct answer. Just who inspires you? Why did you do music? What is it like? Oh my God. For me, it was like discovering Queen as a little kid. Night at the Opera was like, the world opened up to me because all I listened to was classical music. And don't say all because that makes it sound marginalized. I grew up on classical music and jazz. That's what my father played all day, every day. And I'm so glad. That's why I love melody. But when he gave me, for Christmas, a million years ago, when I was 7 years old, he gave me a night at the opera. And I opened it up and I saw all these guys with long hair. And I remember reading no synthesizers. Didn't even know what synthesizers were. But I knew he was making a statement that it was all done on guitars. And I heard Brian May's guitar parts. And I was like, this is what I want to do. I don't know how I do it. I have no idea. But so for me, the answer would always be Queen. Eric will choose somebody. You can choose whoever you like. There is no favoritism. If your favorite band or artist happens to be Drake or Queen, or it doesn't matter. There's no wrong answer. Frank Zappa, I see a couple of times there. Good. Björk, Buddy Holly. Yeah, some great answers. But it's up to Eric. He's going to choose somebody at random. You're going to get a 1-year membership to the Academy. We're going to listen to the next song and give it a long time to listen and let everybody think. And also, please hit the like button. Donald says, hi, everybody. I'm playing all the instruments, but I have my brother Keenan do the lead vocals while I'm performing the backup vocals. I'm still using a Les Paul, P-Bass, a Squier. I have a Squier P-Bass too. Oh, Squier Jazz Bass. Yamaha DTX 500 sounds. I didn't actually play the drums. Amplitube, Abbey Road, and still using Studio One. And the number is on my second album. This number, is on my second album and still doesn't sound as good as I'd like, but sounds way better than the first. Concerning my production skills, please be brutally honest as far as any musicianship and songwriting goes. Please be polite. Thank you, everyone. We'll always be honest, my friend. Here it is. It's Donald. It's dumbing down.
America, Newport, DC, Bohemian Road, CRC, yeah. No one knows. victims of the dumbing down. Keep dumbing me down. I want you to keep dumbing me down. Keep dumbing me down. I want you to keep dumbing me, dumbing me, dumbing me down.
You my dum dum.
Couple of things. Hey, Russell, that was Ben. He's kind of joking because he's in the band that did the death metal remix competition, the mixing competition. Yeah, for those of you who haven't entered yet, you can enter the mixing competition. Maybe Eric can post a link to that for the mixing competition if he hasn't already. He's going to go and find it. I see him frantically doing. Who won? Niklas said, who said Radiohead. I think that's a good choice of band. That's a good choice of band. But I would have been fine if it had been Taylor Swift. The point is like they're chosen at random. So congratulations, Niklas. That's amazing. You get a free membership to the Produce Like a Pro Academy. And if you're already a member, you get a year extension on it. And if you're a lifetime member, you get any course you like from ProMix Academy. All right. And stick around. We'll go nuts at the last one. The last one at the end will give away like all the ProMix Academy courses and a lifetime membership to the Produce Like a Pro Academy. How about that? If you stick around to the end. So do me a favor, hit the like button. That would really, really appreciate it. It lets that quote unquote algorithm know that people are here. Thank you. There's 366 people watching live. That's amazing. Let's see if we can get 366 likes. That would be superb. All right. I really enjoyed the song. It's great. It would be better if it had more fullness to it, Don. It feels, the guitars feel a little mid-rangey, which is very reminiscent, of course, of the 80s. You know, in the 80s, everything, as you know, was like super top and bottomed, you know, kind of guitar sounds, which is tough because you go back and you listen to like Blizzard of Oz, or you listen to the first Randy Rhoads record with Ozzy, and it's such a shame because it's some of the best guitar playing ever, and one of the defining moments of 80s rock. It's one of the albums that everybody name checks as being why they ended up, you know, everybody listened to that record and wrote music based on it because of Randy's guitar playing and the songs on it. They were just absolutely superb that they wrote. But the guitars are a little too, not much low lows, not much high highs, and very narrow. That's the thing for me, Don. I would like to hear a bit fuller guitar sound. Number one, that's the first thing. Hey, Joey and Carlisle. We love Carlisle. And probably, as you all noticed, the right-hand side guitar is a little hotter than the left. I personally would want it to be either just as loud the whole time, or predominantly maybe going down to like in a verse. I would go stereo, loud guitars, a bit more low end, bit more highs, bit fuller sounding guitars in the intro and the choruses. And then on the verses, go down to 1 and maybe put it like 20, 30% off center, just one guitar. That's what I would personally do. Oh, I don't hate on that Randy Rhoads guitar tone. I love everything about that record. I'm just saying stylistically, I never use the word the H-A-T-E. It's not in my vocabulary. But what I mean is like, that's what people listen to that and in a modern context. I mean, when we did the video on the record, we got so many people going, oh, his tone's terrible. I don't think it's terrible. I think at the time it was amazing. We loved it. Everybody was going in and like, you know, remember the Rockmans? Everybody went for that middly kind of Boston, you know, remember that kind of gum. Everybody had that nosy kind of guitar tone, and it was really cool at the time, and that's what we loved. But, you know, and then even like 80s, the American 80s metal stuff, it doesn't have that thickness in the low lows as well. You know what I mean? So I know what you mean. Oh, I love Mick Ronson and of course Queen. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was definitely part of the time. So for me, I'd go to one guitar there, Don. So level out the left and right guitars, make them a bit fuller, a bit more low lows, a bit more high highs, just a bit thicker, and then go to one in the verse.
So remember where you heard it first. We're all victims of the dumb and down. Down, keep dumbing me down. I want you to keep dumbing.
So as Chris is pointing out, now, because these are all mixes from Academy members, what we ask is that people share their productions with the rest of the Academy. So we have I think we calculate like 180 mixes in there, or 200, I can't remember. And each week we put stuff that we do from the channel in there. We also put stuff that's not from the channel in there. But more, as importantly, is we get people to put their own mixes in there. So, Don, if you could give these multi-tracks out, and everybody else, Brett, Matthew, everybody, if you can give the multi-tracks out to other Academy members, they can mix it, you know, they can mix it and really work. It's a great idea. You can listen to the mix tips that we've got between us and then really get stuck in there and make something absolutely wonderful. And it helps each other out because Don is obviously the musician on the track, wrote the song, played all the instruments. Somebody else can mix it and take it over the edge. That's what this is about. It's about community and helping each other out.
So remember where you heard it first. We're all victims of the dumb and down. Down, keep dumbing me down. I want you to keep dumbing me down. Furthermore, the good Lord knows what's crooked can't be straightened. The late night.
So I think what we need to do on this, is those guitars. They need a bit more low lows. They need a bit more high highs. The bass could do with a bit more grind to it to connect it just a little bit. You know, grind it a little bit.
Furthermore, the good Lord knows what's crooked can't be straightened.
Oh, Don said he lost the multi-tracks in a horrible deleting mishap and didn't make any backups of the tracks. Oh, well, you know what, Don? Wow, distortion. You know what, Don? This is a perfect opportunity for you to re-record it and learn from it. Maybe get the tones down the way that you hear them so there's less mixing to do, maybe that we're talking about it. How about that? Is that okay? Is that good for a suggestion? I know you're always traveling. When I've spoken to you a few times, so many of the Academy members, we do interact a lot. And I believe you were driving across the country last time we spoke.
Furthermore, the good Lord knows what's crooked can't be straightened.
Dustin saying would love to hear real drums on a re-record. Yeah, that's another thing. We have a lot of drummers in the Academy, so we could have some of the drummers play on the track as well. Another good reason why the Academy is so wonderful is you can work with other musicians.
Furthermore, the good Lord knows what's crooked can't be.
So for me, a bit more grind on the bass, a bit more attitude. So when you do retrack it, you see what I'm throwing you under the bus here. Get a bit more grit on it. A bit, a little bit of saturation is never going to be a problem. A bit of distortion on the bass because it will get eaten up by everything else, but it will help the bass stand out a bit. Bass for me, like I said on a previous song, is like 750, 850, 1K, 1.5, 3K. Getting those kind of nosy frequencies with a bit of the grit in the 3K area. Then, of course, having like 80 to 100 blooming in that area is beautiful and will help connect it with the kick while also scooping out a little bit of that excessiveness of the kick. They'll glue the two things together and really breathe nicely together. That's my main thing. I think drums could always have a little tiny bit of subbiness on the kick. Never have a problem with that. And then when you're retracking it, just a little nod to the tightness. There's a few times it just doesn't feel like the guitars, the bass, and the drums are quite connecting as tight. Please don't go in there ever and like do, guitar hit by guitar hit, but just turn it down, take a break from it, come back, listen to it, and then just edit things that really bother you, where you feel like the groove isn't quite locking. Just here and there, and just see if you can get it to feel really, really great. Great work, Donald. Next up is Bjorn. Bjorn says, "Greetings, Warren and crew, all my brothers and sisters in the Academy. My name is Dirk." Is this right?
Oh, no notes from Bjorn.
Oh, no notes from Bjorn. Sorry. I was like, Bjorn is also called Dirk? So no notes from Bjorn. This is Bjorn's Walmart, The Old Performer 2022. Let's check it out.
He was wearing the same old attribute. Nothing changes. A worn out suit, touching up the sad-aged face, staring back at the mirror's broken edge. Gone are the times when he cried, always saw sheer pride, craving for more, light up the floor, watch him provide and shine. Limping up from the ward at the end, oh so quiet, the hallways are spent, empty beds made, the crowd's gone numb. Here's the cue now, dramatic tension drum. Curtains will rise once again, all the dust falling down. Spectators will roar, shouting for more. Everyone loves the clown. Let me out, unlock this forgotten door. I'm ready to go in a minute or two. They all want one more. Lights are fading, the exit is due. Gone is the magic, the mystery too. Empty stages, nothing stays. Cleaning up the seating once again. Steps on a poster on the floor. Who is that on the right? So much has changed, it all seemed arranged. The spotlight is way too bright. Let me out, unlock this forgotten door. I'm ready to go in a minute or two. They all cheer for more. Preparing the makeup, it's gone dirty and dry. The shoes, they got smaller, the tweed cap is crowd's gone, the audience all seems so cold. Is this goodbye? Let me out, unlock this forgotten door. I'm ready to go in a minute or two, performing the final score. Let me out, unlock this forgotten door. I'm ready to go in a minute or two, performing the final score.
Okay, what can I say when I talk about, first of all, the variety of music that we get inside of the Academy? I mean, we've gone from, alt rock pop with Matthew to current pop music with Brett to classic kind of 70s, late 70s, early 80s rock. Probably, I think, done with those thicker tones when Donald's, probably more like Queens of the Stone Age kind of thing. And now here we are with an absolutely beautifully recorded, very, very well written, dynamic, gorgeous song. I just want to listen to this again.
A worn out suit, touching up the sad aged face, staring back at the mirror's broken edge. Gone are the times when he cried, always of sheer pride, craving for more, light up the floor, watch him provide and shine. Limping up from the ward at the end, oh so quiet, the hallways are spent, empty beds made, the crowd's gone numb. Here's the cue now, dramatic tension drum. Curtains will rise once again, all the dust falling down. Spectators will roar, shouting for more.
So, subtle thing. First of all, I think it's absolutely superb as it is. Rest my case, on to the next. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. It's a wonderful song. It's an amazing arrangement. It's really, really well recorded.
The crowd's gone numb. Here's the cue now, dramatic tension drum. Curtains will rise once again.
I think for me, the cello slash viola, it's tough because it's a crossover range between cello and viola. I assume it's a cello, but it could be viola. I wish it was more mono, less kind of feeling like it was MS'd or widened or something. I think it would have been a bit more intimate if it just come in just like mono, slightly for me, right only, just a little bit more natural.
Curtains will rise once again, all the dust falling down. Spectators will roar, shouting for more. Everyone loves the clown. Let me out.
Love that. Love that lift there. It's so good.
Let me out. Unlock this forgotten door. I'm ready to go in a minute or two. They all want one more.
Would I be able to sell this song, or it needs, what's JNQ mean? Sorry, I don't know what JNQ means. Could you, Thomas, can you ask that again? I'm not quite sure what you mean. Sorry.
Let me out. Unlock this forgotten door. I'm ready to go in a minute or two. They all want one more.
This is one of my favorite moments, the piano there. I love those voicings. The really, really tight voicing has always been a big favorite of mine. Yeah, really, really great. It reminds me, my father used to play a lot of, he used to play a lot of like MJQ, Modern Jazz Quartet with Milt Jackson, of course. But just like that very kind of bass, piano, drums, just has that intimacy, and those voicings are just really almost like pseudo-classical but jazz at the same time, rather than the big expansive kind of like low-end stuff down here and cling, ding, 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 ding. Just like it's like a pianoforte kind of thing. Have a listen with that in mind. It's so good. Because it's very, very well constructed. Because if you've got a range of like no more than like 2 octaves, maybe occasionally stepping outside of it, but you're essentially playing really tight in just an octave to 2 maximum. You're not stepping on the bass. You're certainly not taking away from the vocal, and it's really, really tasteful.
Lights are fading, the exit is due. Gone is the
Lovely. And then you've got little vibes going on there, which is the MJQ kind of thing. It's absolutely superb. Yeah, xylophones, piano, just really good. Very, very well constructed song. For me, it's just those strings making them feel a bit more natural and a bit more. I know if you're using virtual instruments, it's tough sometimes to solo something, because it can tend to sound like, oh, that's not real. So if you sort of blend it and make it feel a little bit wider, and it's a good trick, a bit of verb, a little bit of ambience around it, people won't necessarily tell that, oh, that's not a real cello player or a real viola player. So I get that, but I do feel like in the arrangement that you've got, I just would love to hear that being solo, a single player playing that part. Otherwise, flawless, absolutely beautiful, and a really great demonstration of our community here. Why we love this and why so many incredible people are in here and helping each other out. Bjorn, we really like that. That's Bjorn Woolmark. Bjorn, if you can get the multi-tracks to other members of the community, that would be amazing to let other people mix that. Wonderful, wonderful work. I'm going to take a bathroom break, which means Eric has to tell the joke of the day. Don't leave. Last time Eric told the joke of the day, we lost like 50 people. I'm coming back, I promise. And he is funny. I promise. He can be funny. You can also ask him all kinds of questions about recording and stuff like that. Yes. Eric. Poor old Eric. Come on. Joke of the day from Eric while I go and use the bathroom.
I don't even know how this ever started. It was like 3 or 4 years ago, and since then it's it's just as cringy as it's always been. What's up, everyone? Anyone that doesn't know, yes, I do this. When Warren goes to the restroom, I entertain everyone, and I don't know what to do because I just don't like being in front of people, and I get forced to do this. I guess it comes with the job. So I tell jokes because why not? And I think they're great. I get a lot of grunts, but I think they're great. No, let's not roast me. That's terrible. That's makes me not want to come up here more. But you know what? Ray Mears had a great idea. I don't have a joke prepped because I can actually just camera, yeah. No, not just camera. I can actually show you guys some of the the Academy. For anyone that doesn't know or has not seen it, it gives you a little sneak peek. So let's go here. And then I'll bring this up here so I don't confuse Warren. Open this. Boom, Academy. Here's the Academy. If anyone doesn't know, producerpro.com is where you go to the Academy. I updated the link below because at first it wasn't half off. That link was wrong. The half off link is in there. If you need a joke, I can be the joke. I am the joke. More dad jokes. There will be more dad jokes. They're really hard to come by now. I don't know how long we've been doing these jokes. Memes about Academy. It's really hard to come by these jokes now. The good ones. I think I'm giving you guys the good ones. I am the Eric. But here's the Academy. Here's the page. Stuff and things, details about the page. But let's go inside. So Academy login. Here is your dashboard, which is just the main page of, your links to get around everything. From the Facebook group, lessons, we post up any kind of we post up private, Produce Like a Pro only, like the Academy only lessons that we have a lot of mentors giving us content that's not on YouTube. And then some stuff that's really big on YouTube, we throw it in there because we just don't want, anyone to miss it. Because there's so much that goes on YouTube that it's easy to miss. Too many links? No. Maybe. Oh, and then it says sessions with Steve in the bottom. It repeats. That's a weird thing. I don't know what's going on there. There is a Discord chat, which is Academy only. And at first we had the chat in the webpage, but they did an update and we couldn't do that anymore. We had to move to Discord. It's a learning curve for me even, but it's cool. Anyways, downloads. You go to downloads and right here we have, cheat sheets, drum samples. Warren's drum samples are in there. The ones that we pull up every time he's mixing. He literally goes to this is his main list. Where do you stick your multi-tracks? I will show you right now. Audio files. I don't even know what's in audio files. Oh, okay. So multi-tracks, but these are accompanied with lessons. Probably should update this. The samples, there's other samples, not just Warren's, but Reed Shippin's samples, Ariel Shobass's samples, Matt Starr samples. It's, as Warren would say, sample-tastic. The website is a work in progress. We improve little by little. Multi-tracks. If anyone's going to be sending in your own multi-tracks, you send them to me. And I'll put them into this member upload section. What you guys would love is the multi-tracks, the insane amount of multi-tracks that we have over here. They're set up into seasons. Again, this may be updated. But starting from season 1, so 7 to 8 years ago, this is where we started giving out multi-tracks. All of these, they're organized into seasons. Each season has 4 multi-tracks in them. Trip Willie, please email me. I will help you out. Eric@producelikeapro.com. ERIC. I'll type it in here too. ERIC. Anything that goes weird and wonky, just hit me up. I will help as much as I can. Whoops, that did not work. Because our support gets a ton of stuff. And it misses a lot. And I try to keep up with my emails as much as I can. And so I kind of get to things sometimes first. So there is my email. I hope I spelled it right because the E doesn't work on this keyboard. Travis, I see that. There's a lot of word of turd in there. I see the joke. I don't think anyone else can because like YouTube flags it. It helps if you compliment Eric's hair when you email him. It does. Though I wear beanies a lot because I'm just too lazy and wake up as late as I can. But yeah, here's all the multi-tracks. You're good to just download each one, have a whack at them. You can hear the tracks before you download them right here, so you can know what you're gonna get yourself into. And this is where these are the tracks that people submit.
Oh, this is good.
And we review them.
Eric, go
no.
Eric.
What have I done?
This is good.
These are the multi-tracks of what we do on like normal Fridays, not the original Feedback Fridays. What you're watching today is the original Feedback Friday, which is the first Friday of every month that members can send in their own work, whether it's an original they're doing, a cover that they've done, even if it's not a production of theirs, but they're mixing someone else's track, they just send it on in. And I pick at random, really. I just get the 10. We can only do 10 per episode. And we go through them.
It takes like 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah. I mean, the first song alone, I think we hit like the 40-minute mark.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, dang. It's going to be a long one. So those are your multi-tracks, or the multi-tracks section. Courses. We have courses. 4 courses. Click there. Cool. We have courses with Manny. Some of these courses are part of ProMixAcademy.com, but we've got them here as well as just you're part of the academy. We have a few of those available for free. And then other courses that are just here and not over there. Like, for instance, we have Warren Sokol's Ultimate Guide to Mastering, which is awesome because he just literally masters from the ground up a bunch of different genres of tracks and goes through his whole process. And he even has like little lessons in there, like what is mastering, the fundamentals. I think that is 2 hours on that alone. And then you got mastering hip hop, mastering modern rock, mastering EQ, which is just going over, how he uses EQ in mastering. Same thing with compression. There's courses like that in there. Definitely recommend checking them out. And of course, there's plenty of Warren. If you want more, if you need more Warren in your life,
No. No, enough. Help. But we have some new great mentors.
And we do have some,
Joe Carell.
Joe Carell just joined, which is really exciting. I check out that for the Academy members. If you didn't see that Q&A, check that out.
He's insane. He's so good.
Yeah, it's really exciting to have him in there.
Manny Nieto.
Mark Daniel Nelson.
Daniel Nelson's in there all the time. He does videos with us all the time inside the academy.
It is only growing and expanding. That is the gist of things. There's still so much to check out.
Ali was in there last week. Amen.
Yeah. But yeah, that is a quick tour of the academy. I hope you enjoyed your moment with Dirk. I take tips.
You take tips. That's funny. Get a tip.
Tip jar.
Hang on, 1 second. Let me just check something.
Oh yeah, I'll hop back on.
I'm gonna hop back on. Hop back on, Eric. You were doing such a good job.
Okay, I lied. I'm back. That was just a false alarm. But yeah, we're making it a thing. Every Wednesday we go live with a mentor, whether it's gonna be Warren mixing a track, which we do have one coming up, I think next week or the week after, one of those. And then we have other live streams coming up with other mentors. So that's every Wednesday, and then every Friday is this in the academy. Where's the sit-down comedy show? No.
Yeah, did you tell any one of your famous jokes?
I didn't. It's so hard to find the new ones. Oh, I don't have any new Vegas stories. It's been a while. I'll clean all that up. What is the relationship between Pro Mix Academy and Produce Like a Pro? I mean,
Well, I mean, Pro Mix Academy is like all just, it's not about me.
Yeah.
It's not about Warren. It's about tons and tons of other different mentors and stuff like that. Yeah, it's not the Warren show. It's got nothing to do with me. Like, I've got like a couple of courses on there, but there's tons and tons of other different mentors. And those are all standalone courses you can buy separately from different mentors, different producers, different engineers, different mixers. Anyway, God bless it. We are now getting into the wonderful world of rock and roll. Now we got Dirk Richardson up next. And, well, let's do another giveaway while we listen to this. So what did we do? We did favorite artist of all time. How about this? What is the one piece of equipment, anything, could be a microphone, could be a microphone, could be a guitar amp, it could be a plug-in, it could be a pair of speakers, could be headphones. Any musical instrument, piece of recording equipment, I don't mind what it is, just something that that you couldn't live without. What is the one thing you cannot live without? Your most favorite thing ever? Just let us know, and Eric will pick at random after we listen to the song, and you'll win a year's membership to the Academy. If you're already a member, you get an extra year. If you're a lifetime member, you can get any course from Pro Mix Academy. And stay tuned, because at the very end, we're going to do like a huge giveaway of lifetime membership to Produce Like a Pro Academy and the Everything Bundle from Pro Mix Academy. All right, Dirk is up next. Says, greetings, Warren and crew, all of my brothers and sisters in the Academy. My name is Dirk, and this is my band, The Unlikely. We're a 4-piece rock band with varying degrees of musical skill, but we all share a deep love of music and the obsessive need to create. Dirk Richardson, lead vocals, rhythm guitar, and Academy member since 2020. Dave Q, lead guitar, backing vocals. Seth Richardson, no relation, bass and backing vocals. TJ Searwert, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong, all things percussion. Started writing songs during the pandemic, and Local Girl is one of the first. I'm going to let those of you in the Academy read every single thing. A lot of mixing inspiration techniques come from sources like Mixing in the Box with Warren Hewitt, Mixing Essentials with Sarah Carter. Those are both Pro Mix Academy courses. The Mixing in the Box actually comes free also inside of Produce Like a Pro if you join. Mixing Pop Rock with Waves. That's a course at Pro Mix Academy. Mixing Rock with Mark Daniel Nelson, a Pro Mix Academy course. Mixing Heavy Music from start to finish with Manny, also inside the Academy, Pro Mix Academy. But despite all the great resources, I struggle with this mix, okay? Most of it's general inexperience and come from some crippling self-doubt, don't we all? My environment isn't optimal. I don't possess great sounding monitors, JBL Series 3, don't know them. DT990s, though, those are wonderful, wonderful headphones. This is what I have to work with, so currently I made the best of it. My mix is wildly different depending on what I'm listening to, headphones, monitors, earbuds, or car stereo, so I don't know what to trust. I have some great help from the community to identify potential problems exist before submitting for Feedback Friday, and I'm not 100% confident the mix is radio ready, or for lack of a better term. All right, let's check it out. Here it is, Local Girl.
A local girl, and she had her dreams of breaking out and being seen. You know, she played guitar and she loved to sing. She jammed with anyone, she'd play you anything. She's just a local girl, she's just a simple girl. She started writing songs and playing local clubs. She started making friends that thought like her. She got that record deal. Now she's a star, you know there's so much more to a hometown girl. She's a local girl, she's just a simple girl. She rides the night, the same love song. She died for rock and roll. local girl, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. It had its price, it gave her everything, but then it took her life. We lost a simple girl. We lost a local girl. She rides at night to save her soul. She died for rock and roll. Black dove in flight to take her home. She steps into the light. She rides at night to save her soul. She died for rock and roll. Black dove in flight to take her home. She rides at night to save her soul. She died for rock and roll. Black dove in flight to take her home. She steps into the light. She rides at night. 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 Save her soul.
What a fantastic song. I thought at the first, obviously, I thought it was going to be a mountain song. You know what I mean? How about reviewing this song with Alan Johannes? I mean, sure. No, I really like this. So what's interesting about this is it's got that similar thing that Don had with that kind of mid-rangey guitar, but it doesn't... But it just has just enough bite. And also I think the relationship with the bass guitar and the electric guitar makes it work more. Yeah, I mean, there could be some better performance on the bass line, I agree. But at the same time, the groove does work together. It's not the best soloed bass line, but once the guitars are in there, have a listen. In that sort of late 80s, early 90s, this is sort of reminiscent of, there was a lot of bass lines being played on records that weren't even as good as that, you know. It could probably do with a little bit of nudging around to tighten without it making it sound like it is, wouldn't get so unbelievably tight on it. It sounded like it was being played by a machine. Travis is suggesting some feedback on it. You could probably edit that to be just a little bit tighter. It's that note there. Yeah, I don't think it's fixable from either one. Yeah. I mean, if it's supposed to be dead, then it works. It could be, you could try flying it around. If that grooves exists somewhere else, just try and fly it around and find it, grab a section that works just a little bit better. You know what I mean? Yeah, just see if you can get that bass line to just be a little bit more consistently tight. But sonically, I don't mind the tone. I mean, you could go nuttier on it and distort it a bit more and saturate it. You know, but I actually kind of like it.
She's just a simple girl.
It allows that kind of like middly kind of 350, allows the guitars to kind of breathe around it.
She's just a simple girl. She started writing songs and playing local clubs. She started making friends that thought like her. She got that record deal. Now she's a star, you know there's so much more to a hometown girl. She's a local girl. She's just a simple girl. She rides the night, the same house.
Yeah, Youth is a great example. Killing Joke, all that stuff. The bass lines in Killing Joke are amazing.
Now she's a star, you know there's so much more to a hometown girl. She's a local girl. She's just a simple girl. She rides the night, the same house. She got for rock and roll. Black David might take her home. She shines on the light. She rides.
But I love the song. I absolutely love the song. I think the bass being a little tighter throughout wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing, but I do really, really like this song. I like the those backgrounds are great. But I think the one comment that resonates me that people are talking about, and you know, Legendary's saying it here, and lots of other people have meant, it's just a bit more dynamics. Again, maybe going down.
Just a local girl. She was a local girl, and she had her dreams of breaking out and being seen.
Maybe get rid of that chuck 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 guitar in that first verse, so it just goes down. I'm doing Jane's Addiction, but you know, do the down. Maybe just come down to the guitar, the bass and drums only. Just look for ways to help the song build, I think.
And she had her dreams of breaking out and being seen. You know, she played
guitar. Save that for another verse. Make it do a bit less.
and being sing. You know, she played guitar and she loved to sing. She jammed with anyone. She'd play you anything. She's just a local girl.
That's where the first time I would hear a guitar in that verse. So go into that pre-chorus.
Local girl. She's just a simple girl. She started writing songs and playing local clubs. She started making friends that thought like her. She got that record deal.
Again, I would probably mute that guitar until that comes in.
That thought like her. She got that record deal.
Maybe what you're doing is you're adding that guitar to try and lock the bass and drums together, and we're talking a little bit about that bass not being quite tight enough.
That thought like her. She got that record deal. Now she's a star, you know there's so much more to a hometown girl. She's a local girl. She's just a simple girl. She rides the night, the same house. Oh, she got for rock and roll. Black David might take her home. She shines under the light. She rides the night.
I love the chorus. I'm just trying to think of a way you can make that feel bigger coming out of here.
She rides the night, simple girl. She rides the night.
Maybe go down to one mono, you know, one mono guitar here.
Simple girl.
It sounds like you've got three.
Simple girl.
It could be two. It's tough to see the panning. but maybe just make those a little narrower. Maybe just make them smaller, so when that comes into the chorus. Okay, so take it down to 2 and just get them narrower. So and tighter around the center, and then big wide raked guitars for the chorus. Yeah, narrow them a little bit. So that becomes like super wide, hard left, hard right. You could try a. You could try like a, like a. So on that chorus, you got that crown. So you could try that over the crown guitar, just have a driving kind of that maybe that, and that could go quiet but wide and aggressive, like quite maybe play that same part an octave higher, just so when it goes into the chorus, there's like a lift that's driving. So it's that. It's just it's. And you can obviously do it. You could do it high there. You could even go. And just have it like just have a driving high line in the choruses. A little bit of tension there. Just something that just goes, yeah, here's the chorus, and just have a little bit, you know what I mean? That's what I would definitely do. Like, so we want to just strip out, narrow down the pre-chorus, and then go wide left and right on the choruses. And I think you have something really special. Great work. I mean, a really, really good song. Tighten the bass. Strip down what's going on in the pre-chorus so it narrows, go wide on the chorus guitars, and then add like a high line. Doesn't have to be that one, it could be something else. A high line driving idea in the choruses, pan left and right. And I think you'll have like all of the dynamics that we're all sort of craving on it. Great, great song. Love the song. Love the vocals. Really super impressive. All right. Next up is Filippo and Nadia. Now, Filippo and Nadia won the mixing competition, the last Rate My Mix competitions. Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. So I'm excited to hear what they did. So this is Filippo and Nadia. Hello there. This is Hi Warren and everyone. Filippo and Nadia, Crownland duo, here with our original song Under the Rain for the Feedback Friday members originals. This song is special to us. We recorded in the beautiful city of Dublin, Ireland. It is a gorgeous city. It's a pop song with no instruments, only voices and beatbox. All of the musical parts are created by our voices simulating different instruments. We recorded it some years ago and we decided to remaster it these days. We wrote the music, created the lyrics, recorded the vocals and did mixing and mastering. At that time, we tried to make the bass, drums, and percussion as realistic as possible. It's our first submission to Feedback Friday, and we're very excited. We're a little worried about sharing it since it's without instruments, but here it is. Hope you like it. Thanks for your comments, feedback, and suggestions. It's great to be part of this amazing community. So when they won a lifetime membership to our Produce Like a Pro Academy. They weren't already members, but they are now. So excited to see what they did. And it looks like, by the way, Russell and a whole bunch of other people got in there and helped, which is really huge and why we love this community.
Do you wanna rate your happiness? Don't believe it. Do you wanna rate your dreams?
I don't believe it. I don't.
Under the rain,
Your dreams.
always will be free.
But don't believe it.
I don't believe it.
Under the rain, what we've lost we don't need.
I'm gonna go where my dreams come true, but I'm far away, far away.
Things don't last forever when you stop taking chances.
I don't need drinks to show off in a world I'll never see.
Out of time, life will be my answer. Don't care for me, we're just the same thing. Under the rain, always will be free. Under the rain, what we've lost we don't need.
Do you wanna rent your happiness? I don't believe it. Do you wanna rent your dreams? I don't believe it.
Under the rain, always will be free. With a dream of another world.
I'm not the only one I know. You're not the only one you know.
Leave me breaking my rules. It makes me laugh.
I can go anywhere with my dreams.
Nights wouldn't be enough to tell you. There's a place where we can go. If you don't mind.
'Cause I stayed here for days,
Wait for
something.
something. Under the rain, always will be free. Under the rain, what we've lost we don't
Do
need.
you wanna rent your happiness? I don't believe it. Do you wanna rent your dreams? I don't believe it.
Under the rain, always will be free. With a dream of another world.
I'm not the only one I know. You're not the only one you know.
Under the rain, always will be free. Always will be free. Under the rain, what we've lost we don't need. Under the rain, always will be free. Always will be free. Under the rain, what we've lost we don't need.
Do you wanna rent your happiness? I don't believe it. Do you wanna rent your dreams? I don't believe it.
Under the rain, always will be free. Always will be free. With a dream of another world.
I'm not the only one I know. You're not the only one you know.
What a fun song. And like everybody else, it'd be amazing if you could give us those multi-tracks for Academy members to mix. Filippo and Nadia, that would be really, really amazing. So a couple of things. I enjoyed it a lot. I feel like it's very built around certain frequencies. When they won the mix competition, they won the remix. They completely and utterly changed the whole song up and did an amazing rearrangement, and everybody loved it. That was our jazz one with Gilad Hexelman. So absolutely superb. So we know they're super, super talented. I think for me, it's The only thing is like the left and right movement is provided by percussion.
Life will,
Like that's super mono there, yeah?
life will be my answer. Don't care for me. We're just the same thing.
I'm very tempted to check something here. So I'm going to go mono and just go to the trim control. I'm going to pan this center.
Life will be my answer. Don't care for me. We're just the same.
So I just reversed the polarity of one channel, pan them on top of each other. I think it's the organ. It's the widening on the organ is giving me a little bit of phase issues. Yeah, that's the thing for me. I was just seeing if there's anything else jumping out, but I think it's just that.
Life will be my hand.
It's that there's maybe a widening on it, or it's the sound itself has some phasey kind of issues. I hate saying phasey; it's such a stupid thing to say, but I did it.
Life will be my answer. Don't care for me. We're just the same thing. Under the rain, always will be free. Under the rain, what we've lost we don't need.
Do you wanna rent your happiness? I don't believe it. Do you wanna rent your dreams? I don't believe it.
Under the rain, always will be free. With a dream of another world.
I'm not the only one I know. You're not the only one you know.
Leave me breaking my rules. It makes me laugh.
I really like it. I like it a lot. It does feel a little too narrowed, a little too high and low passed. I want to hear a bit more kind of warmth in the track, like relaxing some of the EQ moves. It's it sounds good, but I feel like I would probably, and I'm just going to do this on a global sense. So if we just grab a quick global EQ, we'll just go with the free one that comes here. Let's have a listen.
Leave me breaking my rules. It makes me laugh.
I can go anywhere with my dreams.
Nights wouldn't be enough to tell.
I mean, I just took 100 hertz and boosted it by nearly 5 dB. I could probably go a little higher.
Leave me breaking my rules. It makes me laugh.
I can go anywhere with my dreams.
So now I've gone up to 250. You see, that should be blowing up the speakers, shouldn't it? But it's not. It's just... I mean, it's nice that it's kind of narrowed and it's almost like an AM radio, but it feels like the whole song is like that, you know?
Leave me breaking my rules. It makes me laugh.
I can.
Yeah, I feel like you've maybe just gone in there a little bit too aggressively on EQ and made everything sort of super narrow and thin sounding. And I just, you know, I'm not sure what the last giveaway is, Dustin, off the top of my head. But if basically we notify everybody who won via email, so you'll get an email.
Leave me breaking my rules. It makes me laugh.
I can go anywhere.
If you won, you would have had an email on whatever the last one that's finished is. And if you go to Produce Like a Pro, I can't, I'm trying to do it. But anyway, if you go to the website, you'll see, I don't know which one you're talking about. These are all things you can find out on your own, but I'll go to the blog. Dum-de-dum-dum-dum. I'm not sure why I'm doing this. I should be teaching something else, but okay.
I think the giveaway we were doing here,
The giving here.
I didn't pick a winner.
You haven't picked a winner.
That's why.
You haven't picked a winner.
I didn't pick a winner.
Oh, see, I didn't even know. Eric. Eric.
The chat doesn't go far back to get.
Oh, Eric. What was the question?
What was the question?
What was the question? One piece of gear that you couldn't live without. A musical instrument. Eric. Okay. One more time, everybody. What's the one piece of equipment you couldn't live without? It can be a guitar. It can be a microphone. It could be a plug-in. It could be a cable. It could be a pick. It could be anything. Eric. Eric. I was thinking, Eric. All right. Everybody go while we talk about this a bit more.
Leave me breaking my rules.
I'm sorry. Please hit that like button. Make Eric feel better by liking the video. So he doesn't feel like, oh my God, everybody hates me. I thought you'd already picked it.
Leave me breaking my rules. It makes me laugh.
I can go anywhere with my dreams.
Nights wouldn't be enough to tell you. There's a place where we can go. If you don't mind.
'Cause I stayed here for days.
Waiting for something. Under the rain. Always will be free. Under the rain.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think use the stereo width a bit more. Don't make it just a percussion. I think you tried a stylistic idea, which I like. But I think get some more musical instruments out of the middle. Get them wider, not just a percussion. And then just give us some more warmth back on the tracks. And I think I just think you went and got a little crazy on the high passing on this one. But I love the song, and you are both very, very talented. And please, 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 please let us have the multi-tracks inside of the Academy. All right, we're going to listen to another one. Are you still letting people guess?
Yeah.
Eric, yeah, we'll give you a little extra time. Christopher Stoll is up next and says, hi, everybody. This I recorded in order to make the traps available for you. My approach in mixing them was to do it in a Al Schmidt manner without using EQ. I also managed to do so, but in the end, I put an 80 hertz low cut on anything but the drums. I hope you like it and tell me what you think. Happy New Year. There's a lot to tell you about the track and the recording. I'll come to that later, as promised. It looks like Dave Crew got in and helped. Thank you, Dave. So did Chad. Thank you, Chad. That's always wonderful when everybody gets out and helps each other out. Okay, so that's going to be interesting. For me, 80 cut on bass was a little aggressive. So let's see. I usually do like 50 or 60 and then just get it out of the way of the kick. But I don't take it completely aggressively. I just kind of roll it off. I suppose if you high pass really gently at 80, that might work. Well, we'll find out. Please hit the like button. Please share. Tell us what is your one piece of equipment you couldn't live without to win. This is a Produce Like a Pro year's membership. If you're already a member, you'll get an extra year. If you're a lifetime member, you can pick any course you like from ProMix Academy. And if you stick around to the very end, we will do a huge giveaway. Absolutely superb. Christopher, I would love to know more. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. I was trying to read your comments going down. So you're saying this was a bunch of young people from all over Europe that came together for a week and rehearsed and then played live, and you recorded it. I think that's what you're saying. Did you record it or are you just mixing it? But either way, it's absolutely superb. I will say I get it from a perspective of making things sound authentic to not have the low lows, because when you go back to the classic kind of jazz, bebop period, of course, there wasn't the low lows available that could be reproduced by stereo systems of the day. It was really hard to get super, super low lows. So maybe that was your thinking, to kind of like high pass things at 80. But for me, it felt like I was lacking some of the warmth, you know what I mean? Just a little bit more. Oh, who won? Todd Greenwood? Yes. Peterson Virtual Strobe Tuner. Desk model and stomp model. Oh, look at that. There you go. Good. So for me, I went and dialed in a knizzle ton of low end and put it on and took it off a few times. So let's have a listen to that. Take it off. Put it back on. Sheila says, Eric, it took you long enough. Eric, did pick a winner. Woohoo! Winner, chicken dinner. Please hit the like button, a comment, share, all that kind of stuff. We've still got another 3 songs to go, and I've got to be out here by 2, so another 23 minutes. And we will do one massive giveaway in 2 songs' time. So for me, the mix is pretty superb. There was lots of comments about maybe the snare being too loud at sometimes, maybe not. But here is my feeling and philosophy with this. This is a live recording, so a lot of what is going on that you're hearing is actual musicians playing together on a stage and playing off of each other. So we have to be careful to just do, maybe there's a couple of times snare could have been tucked a little bit, maybe, but there was also plenty of times it was absolutely perfect, you know. Pretty amazing. A Grammy nominee brought his mics. Lovely. Yeah, I'd love to know more about it. If you can give these multi-tracks to everybody, that would be amazing. I would just relax your high passing and maybe look at doing a tiny bit of automation where the snare maybe was a little bit hot here and there, but that is about it. It is absolutely superb. It's a wonderful, wonderful representation of a band in a club that recorded and mixed very well. And thank you for sharing with us. If we can get the multi-tracks, I think there'll be a lot of very happy members of this academy. Yeah, and as Jörg says, wrongness live is fine. And Jörg actually is a good person to ask that with, because Jörg does a lot of live recordings, like a lot. So we'll have to take his word for that. Ray Mears, wonderful, wonderful work. I want to hear more of that. I want to know more about it. Sheila wants to mix it. Yeah, wonderful work. Great stuff. Shows the variety of music that we have inside of the Academy. All right, Ray Mears is next. Trying to get an old version of Amplitude in many of the songs I've written. I discovered this song. I replaced the old Amplitubes with a newly captured Tonex. It's fabulous in my opinion. Anyway, look forward to Warren and all of the Plapper feedback. Looks like Mark got in and helped. So did Chad a couple of times. I see. And Ray, and they were having a discussion. All right. Okay. Let's give it a listen.
Life's not easy, no repeat, an endless journey, a front row seat, a true believer, a fairy tale. just to go along. So tired of the same old song. Don't know what went wrong. So here we are, the same old things. Can't get by on these worn out tricks. You don't believe me, you never have, never will. Believe me when I say I don't want to end this way. I find the world is cruel to me. Give it up, give it up, give it up. I don't want to believe. So tired of the same old song. Too tired just to go along. So tired of the same old song. Don't know what went wrong.
Very nice. So, Ray, I agree with the sentiment here. Drum sound is really beautiful, very natural sounding. I know nothing about how the drums were recorded or whether they weren't recorded, but I do like the sound of the drums. I agree there's some timing discrepancies. There pretty much always is in music anyway, where sometimes it feels like a little bit disconnected between rhythm guitars, bass, and drums, where maybe there's some nudging around a little bit. In general, there was another comment about maybe bringing the rhythm down when the solos and stuff are playing. possibly it probably could tuck down a half a dB either side.
Too tired just to go along. So tired of this.
I think given the tonality of the vocals, that kind of tired, that kind of I feel like given that and given I would make it more of this. Yeah, more of this. Oh, it's addictive, yeah. I've always had great results of addicted drums. It's the one I always come back to. Yeah, I think given all of that, I feel like it just needs to be wrongified just a bit more. Yeah, Hunt Sales, somebody's saying, yeah. So, yeah, Peter always has impeccable ears, is saying the guitar solo's a little overpowered by the rhythm as well.
So here we are, the same old things.
I think I like that vocal. I think, yeah, bring down the guitars. I would personally darken the rhythm guitars ever so slightly because I feel like they're stepping in the way of the drums. That kind of like cymbal, kind of ride cymbal, you can hear it. They're stepping on them just a little bit. I would make them just a little bit darker. I'd bring them down ever so slightly. I'm talking about slightly darker. I wouldn't hesitate to put a very close slap delay on them.
So here we are, the same old things.
Yeah, and Ken's suggesting like wrongifying on the vocal as well. Yeah, I feel like slap delays, dark ones, slightly saturated. I would make more of it. I would make it more wrongify a bit, that vocal. I want everything to be just like a little bit like more like, this is a dirty, horrid rock track. You know what I mean? I would milk that. I would milk the whole thing, and I'd be looking for ways to kind of like distort things a little bit more in a wrong way, bit of slap echo on the guitars, so it's a little bit more like just a thicker sound, not quite so modern and bright. Dirt and grit, says Sheila. More Motorhead, says Jay. Yeah, early Motorhead, I agree. Yeah, I love it though. Great track. Great track. Again, if you could share that with the community, that would be an amazing one, Ray, for people to mix. It'd be really, really cool. All right, just a couple left. Local Girl and Illusion, Steve O'Rock says, greetings, Plappers, friends, Eric and Warren. This is one of my more soulful tunes written a long time ago and recently produced here at my very own Mystical Lady Productions. At the time, I was influenced by a variety of artists such as Michael Jackson's Sade, 80s Chicago, Toto, and 80s Genesis. Please let me know what you think of the mix as well as identifying the genre. This is probably one of my first 5 releases on Spotify this coming year. Lyrically, the song is about facing your demons in a spiritual sense. Enjoy, and thanks so much for listening and critiquing. Here we go. We got only a few minutes left. You know what? Because we've only got a few minutes left, I'm going to do the big giveaway now. So this is for a lifetime membership to the Academy and an everything bundle of Pro Mix Academy. And you have to write to Eric at Produce Like a Pro afterwards if you win. So this is a lifetime membership to Produce Like a Pro Academy and the everything bundle at Pro Mix Academy. So that's like every course ever. That's a crap ton of courses. Like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and maybe 1,000 hours worth of tuition. All right, and the question is, we did bands, we did favorite piece of equipment. All right, just a question. How long have you been doing music? How many years? How many months? How many weeks? How long have you been doing music? When did you first start doing music? When did you first pick up an instrument? When did you first start recording? How long have you been doing music? That's it. Anybody can answer. Give us an okay, and we'll get through this whole song and then we'll pick a winner for everything.
There's no protection from the illusion. It's gonna find you late at night. It's the illusion. It's gonna tell you what's wrong or right. It's the illusion. It's gonna seek out. It's gonna find, 'cause it's the illusion. It's gonna blow up inside your mind. Yeah. It's out to get you. If you can't seem to fit the pieces quite together, you know it's illusion. And if there's a riddle in your head and you can't hear what's being said, there ain't a sound solution. As you stagger down your path, illusion fills your soul with wrath. Behold its attention. Illusion tells you all its lies. It sees everything through your eyes. It's gonna lead you to demise. There's no way you can disguise the illusion. No, it's gonna find you late at night. It's the illusion. It's gonna tell you what's wrong or right. It's the illusion. It's gonna seek out. It's gonna find, 'cause it's the illusion. It's gonna blow up inside your mind. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's gonna find you late at night. It's the illusion. It's gonna find your deepest pride. Yeah, 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 yeah. It's out to get you. I said, whoa, it's out to get you. 'Cause it's the illusion. It's gonna find you late at night. It's the illusion. It's gonna tell you what's wrong or right. It's the illusion. Yeah, it's gonna seek out. It's gonna find, 'cause it's the illusion. Yeah. It's gonna blow up inside your mind. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, no, no, no. It's the illusion. It's out to get you, baby. Oh, no, 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 no.
I don't want to hurry through this. I feel bad because we got to finish at 2. So we might have to come back to Jasper to give him proper. It might be better to do Jasper next time, Eric, so that we don't ignore it. Because otherwise, I'm going to do a 30-second on Jasper, and that's not fair. But I do have to jump off at 2 because I have a call. I absolutely love this, Stevie O. I think I wasn't reading comments, but for me, I feel like it's a case of probably stripping out some stuff so that there's more differentiated between sections. Like it's coming out here.
It's out to get you. If you can't seem to fit the pieces quite together, you know it's a
See here, it feels like it's coming out enough.
It's out to get you. If you can't seem to fit the pieces quite together.
Maybe the snare needs to dry up. Maybe that's what it is for me. I love that you were talking about your influences and you mentioned certain eras, and I totally understand. But I think if you dried up the snare here, I think that would really help.
It's out to get you. If you can't seem to fit the pieces quite.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think that's the reason why it doesn't feel like it came down enough. Just dry up that snare so it's rather than because that big ambience is fun and really nice to a certain extent in the choruses. You know, I always pump up reverb and ambience on drums in big sections when they get dense, but there I think it should be dry.
If you can't seem to fit the pieces quite together.
Peter says too much snare bottom. Yeah, you could probably reduce the snare bottom in the verses. Not such a big problem to me in the choruses because the extra high end kind of helps it for me. But yeah, I think smaller drum sound in the verse, drier, not as much bottom snare, not quite so bright, would really, really hurt. Olaf says he likes the reverb. I don't hate the reverb. I'm just trying to think of a way to make these sections feel less dense, considering there's a limited amount of instruments going on there.
If you can't seem to fit the pieces go out together, you know it's illusion.
Other thing is you could just bring down the reverb slightly.
If you can't seem to fit the pieces go out together, you know it's illusion.
So maybe, I love their instrumentation. So you've got the funk guitar, you've got like the whirly or the Rhodes, you've got electric piano basically. And then you've got like these little parts coming in. Maybe remove the funk guitar and have that come in later and just let it start with a little bit more paddy sound. So it's a little less movement.
If you can't seem to fit the pieces go out together, you know it's illusion.
So Malimbo Limbo won it. Wow. Congratulations. So Malimbo Limbo won lifetime membership and every single frickin' course that Pro Mix Academy's ever done. Wow. Please hit the like button on your way out, everybody. This has been amazing. We're going to finish this up in a couple of minutes because I have to go to a call.
If you can't seem to fit the pieces go out together, you know it's illusion. And if there's a riddle in your head and you can't hear what's being said, create a sound solution. As you stagger down your path, illusion fills your...
Love the vocal. God, I wish we could spend more time on this. I have to jump off. I love this song. I think it's a case of like muting some stuff, letting some stuff grow, just so there's a little bit more drama in it. So when the chorus hits, it's just bigger. It's been amazing.
Illusion tells you all its lies, sees everything through your eyes.
Steve-O, this would be an amazing one to have in the Academy to mix. I'd love to hear different people's interpretation of this. I'm sorry we have to go because it's so superb. Jesus, Mary and Joseph, Eric. That's a real shame. This is superb. I just would say, maybe we have to come back to this, but what I will say is like, it's more of a case of like, all the ideas and the parts are phenomenal. Is there a way to maybe mute some stuff, maybe make the snare quite so dramatic so that when it does hit, it's a little bit more, whoa, what's going on? Wonderful, wonderful work. What an incredible week. If you're not a member of the Academy, join us. You can tell how wonderful it is. Yep, high and low pass the reverb, says Mark. That's a really good idea. Thanks, everybody. Happy New Year. Please hit the like button on your way out. I really appreciate it. Join us in the Academy if you haven't already. We do this every week. We do this once a month, user-generated ones, and then we listen to all of our own multi-tracks that are supplied. You all rock. Thank you, everybody. So long. Farewell. Happy New Year. Zeta Zeta now. Two zines. Goodbye.